Hey, what's going on here? An orgy or something?
Maybe a funeral, dickhead.
Did you see his face?
You see his face?
Hey, I'm Monster Kid and Nightmare on Elm Street. And that whole thing was from A Nightmare on Elm Street. You probably don't do that part.
These guys with all their glasses or their gloves.
Yeah, we got our gloves, we got our shirts. I'm wearing the Dixon Freddy flannel.
I'm gonna
Steve,
break out my 3D glasses. My
oh,
Freddy,
yeah.
my Nightmare on Elm Street 3D glasses.
Okay.
I got the original Nightmare 1 sweater.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
Very
And,
nice.
we got a guest speaker today.
Oh,
Freddy's with
Oh
us.
boy.
look at him.
Oh boy.
That's our boy.
Remember he's not real though, so he's not that scary.
No, he made it bottom of the list for Mike. So
No, no, that's not true. Leatherface was for. He was Stevie's bottom. Because he's not real.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why I said that. I was kind of picking on myself.
All right.
I'm sure you guys watch it on VHS, but I broke out my DVD set.
Nice.
For this.
Oh no,
That's awesome.
I watched it on DVD too.
Yeah.
That's an awesome box set.
So we've got a lot to get into. I know, Mike, you got some notes. Your camera and audio is exponentially bigger or better.
Bigger and better.
Bigger and better. And you got a microphone. Let me see that microphone.
Oh man, well, it's not. I bought a microphone, but I mean, I'm an idiot because apparently it doesn't come with cables. So I could act like I could hold it like this. And I could look professional.
No one even know.
Just act like
I'm just gonna be like this. You guys gonna be like, what are you doing? Nothing. Talking in my microphone.
He's got the microphone. My turntable's right here next to me. Is your turntable next to you, Matt?
No.
You're gonna have the 2 turntables for his microphone.
And a microphone.
You're an idiot. Sorry.
By the way, Matt, that video you just posted of the attic in Akron, man, that looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, and actually I got a VHS copy of My Bloody Valentine. I paid
to see that movie.
I mean, it's a really good copy. I paid for it, but the prices there are a lot cheaper than like if I were to get it on eBay. And I'd rather support a small local business like that. Anyway.
Local place.
Yeah. The retro is cool. It's definitely cool. So, Nightmare on Elm Street. One of my first favorite horror films. I know that, and actually, to embarrass myself, I'm going to edit in a picture right here. If I can find it. When I was a kid, we couldn't afford, Freddy gloves. So I stole one of my dad's work gloves and I put popsicle sticks in the fingers. And I walked around for months with that thing until my dad realized I stole his glove and then he beat my ass. I'm pretty sure he took his glove back, but I got a picture of it and I'm going to put it in.
All right.
Awesome.
That'll be cool.
I can figure it out.
It.
Yeah. Did you
I
guys...
used to put bugles on my fingers and eat it while I was watching it.
Yeah. I try to do that now, but they're too small.
Yeah. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah, not now. This one I was a kid.
Your fingers are the same size, aren't they?
I think so. They haven't got any.
Mike, do you remember all the posters I had when I was like a real little kid of Freddy Krueger?
Yes.
This dude had like Brooke Shields, Kathy Ireland.
I didn't have Brooke Shields. It was Cindy Crawford and Kathy Ireland.
And I had Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
Dude, I have an awesome story about the old Freddy Krueger posters. So, when I think it was the 4th or 5th grade, my teacher, homeroom teacher, let us bring in a poster of our heroes, that she hangs up on the wall. And the girls were bringing in like New Kids on the Block. There was like a Michael Jordan, a Bo Jackson. I brought in Freddy Krueger wearing the leather coat, with the glove like this. And she actually had to call my mom and have a little meeting with mom because she was concerned about. She still put it up. It was still hung up in the room.
Oh, nice.
But
But why is
But-
this your hero?
she was scared to death of me because of that. She thought I was going to turn out like I was one of the, son of 100 maniacs or something.
You are.
Yeah,
You turned out what she was worried about you turning out like.
that's
Pretty
great.
much. Yeah.
So he was your hero, and now he's 4th on your list.
I outgrew him. No.
The sequels definitely make you outgrow him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But early on, I mean, he was integral for my horror taste as a kid.
The first
I
one was
mean-
so scary.
Yeah, and the second one was dark too.
hmm
But let's talk.
Going
Yeah.
back and watching this. What's up? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say let's talk about this first one.
Yeah,
I'm
going
down.
back and watching this, man. I mean, it's been a bit since I've seen it, and you just realize how it started out so dark. And it's became so different, like you said, with the sequels. And I understand, like if that Freddy stayed that Freddy, like I think that he would have been even more iconic. The way they made that first one with all the other like slasher films and stuff, it's way different than anything else, which made it very unique. And it holds up really well today.
Oh
It
yeah.
does. For me, it hasn't been dated, but I'm also stuck in the past.
Yeah, I mean, there's some questionable acting, but there's a lot of really good actors in it, which makes the actors that aren't so good kind of really stand out.
Johnny Depp's first film.
Yep.
Uh,
Any thoughts a minute?
well, fun fact, that's supposed to take place in Ohio.
Right.
Wes Craven screwed up, and there's palm trees in the back of a lot of shots.
Yeah, there's palm trees everywhere.
But it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm happy that they made it in Ohio, or
I
said
did-
that it was going to be in Ohio.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was the funny part. They never say anything about it though.
No.
I never really bothered the palm trees until I got older, I guess. Because I mean, a lot of movies that came out that year were supposed to take place in areas that have palm trees, and you see palm trees pop up here and there. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
this was super prevalent.
yeah.
I just thought
Especially the camp scene.
maybe there's some kind of palm tree in Ohio that I don't know about. Like when I was a kid,
There
I
could be.
didn't
There
know.
could be. You never know. So this movie starts out like you watch it, and now you see you think about movies that you've seen recently, right? And it had very like going to Terrifier, right? That kind of beginning montage.
Mhm.
And watching that, I was like, well, maybe that's where they kind of got that inspiration, that whole beginning part with the glove and everything. And I like how it got right into it.
Yeah.
Like you don't know anything about anything. You don't even know his name until what, 30, 40 minutes into the movie? At
He
least.
was a boogeyman himself in that
Mhm.
one.
Going now, we know everybody knows who he is and what he is, but then I couldn't imagine really what that would have been like going to a theater, being older and experiencing that like that.
Yeah, I can't remember the first time I saw him. Something else I want to touch on. But you can see this guy, and he's kind of a shadow guy, and he's got this hat on. There's this phenomenon about the Hat Man in dreams. Do you guys know about this?
Uh-uh.
Is that like the dreams where people wake up and they can't move, like sleep paralysis?
No.
Okay.
multiple people across the world have had dreams about this guy wearing a snap brim hat. He's like a shadow figure and he's got red eyes. And they call him the Hat Man. And actually I had a dream about this guy when I was a kid, but I didn't I mean I just thought it was a creepy guy and it was probably like Roger Rabbit had come out, you know, and Christopher Lloyd's character was like that and he had the crazy eyes. So I just thought maybe that's where it came from in my mind.
Mhm.
But I remember this guy being in my it was a straight nightmare when I was a kid. And I remember seeing this guy and it was like it's one of the scariest dreams I've ever had. Almost to the point where I was paralyzed in the dream. And I woke up, whatever. I still like this was I was a little kid and I still remember this. So it might have even been before Roger Rabbit, but um people across the world have had dreams about this Hat Man. So I don't know if that had something to do with the making of Freddy.
It could have.
Um, I would assume that if you could ask Wes Craven if he was still around, he would probably say no, he was based off of something else. But
I heard something about it.
that
Actually, I could throw in some info if you would like about that. And the Hat Man might still have something to do with it as well, because I'm sure he got it from a bunch of different things.
you got to look up the Hat
But,
Man.
Mhm.
There's like documentaries on this dude.
I have to look that up. I didn't know anything about that. But I have a book about, like, I forget what it's titled, but it's about the Nightmare on Elm Street series and Wes Craven and where he came up with the ideas and such. And he was a kid living in Cleveland, actually, Cleveland, Ohio.
Whoa, whoa.
And yep,
Where
and
my
he
dog?
it was apartments that he lived in. I guess it was this bum that was like outside his window that was always there. It scared the crap out of him. And he dressed like that. He had a sweater and a hat. And he would hear noises and look outside, and this guy would scare him as a little kid when he would look at him. That's where he came up with the sweater and the hat and stuff. And if I remember correctly in the book, also it stated the name came from a bully in school. This kid used to bully him, so that's where he came up with the name. And as far as the image, it was the homeless guy that was outside his window in these apartments.
How cool is that homeless guy though? Just to be
I know, right?
like just messing with the kid in the apartment.
Right.
Dude, I don't even know if he was messing with them. He's like, in the book, it says something about being across the street digging through the trash cans and stuff. And you'll hear the noise and look, and it'll be dark, and you'll see the shadow and stuff. And he wore the hat, and he had a sweater that looked like a Christmas sweater.
That was Home Alone.
Well, that did happen in Home Alone as well. But
He
no,
goes around
this is
salting the
honest God
sidewalks.
truth. Wes Craven talked about. He wasn't shoveling sidewalks; he was digging through the garbage. But the Hat Man thing, I wonder if he knew about the Hat Man thing when he wrote the script and kind of like combined it together.
Or maybe
know?
the homeless guy wasn't even real and he was dreaming this.
Oh, it was his own Hat Man.
Maybe.
The Hat Man
Maybe.
is real and you don't fuck with the Hat Man.
No,
Look him
I'm
up.
afraid to look it up because I don't think I want to ever deal
I
with
don't
that.
want to experience that. That doesn't
No.
sound good.
You guys need
Huh?
to.
I'm gonna go back real quick. You're talking about Roger Rabbit. So when I was watching the movie, one of the great things about DVDs is that they had director commentary. So they had, I forget who they had. I think it was Craven. It was Leanne. It was Heather.
Heather
and
Lanning,
it was,
John Saxon,
yeah,
the dad, and
right.
I thought there was somebody else besides Wes Craven.
Well, it was Heather.
Well, Wes Craven, Heather, John Saxon. I thought there
Yeah, it was only those three. It was only for mine. It was only those three.
I watched the same one.
But it was really cool to watch it that way because they had so much information. And I mean, it's probably where a lot of people found out about information from it because of what they were saying. But they said that the doctor in the movie was the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Just so happened talking about Roger Rabbit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right. It's
Wow.
but I think the music, like going back and watching it, really just like researching it and watching that movie in that kind of way instead of just watching it to enjoy it, but really trying to pick things out. That music at the beginning is so good.
That whole score is
Yeah,
incredible.
the whole score is really amazing.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's the guy that did it. I want to say Elliot something. Who did that score? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'll look it up right now because it's in my iTunes or my Apple Music.
Wasn't it DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince or the Fat Boys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nightmare on My Street.
Nightmare on My Street. Yeah.
Actually,
go ahead.
my buddy Ethan and I were just talking about DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and he brought that up, that obscure reference. I'm like, you know what? He's one of the only ones that watches this podcast. I'm like, I'm gonna bring up DJ Jazzy Jeff, and you just did it, so I don't have to.
Look at that.
No,
So
I'm sorry, I said Elliot something. That was Pet Cemetery. It's Charles Bernstein did the score for A Nightmare on Elm Street.
okay.
Okay.
So at the beginning, there's a lamb, right?
Yeah.
Is that on?
Crossed?
Yeah. So was that? I mean, I didn't really look it up or anything, but is that like the whole lambs of slaughter kind of thing, like the innocent, like as innocent as a lamb or whatever, and then they're kind of like crossing over to that. Like, there's got to be a reason why he has a lamb there.
Well, I don't want to jump the answer, but when I was a kid, I just thought it was a sheep, and they're counting sheep. But as an adult, it's probably lamb being led to the slaughter. And that noise that lambs make, it's kind of unsettling.
Yes.
Like if they just had a dog run across the alleyway, they'd be like, so what?
Right.
It's a dog, but
Right.
it's a lamb.
Well, it also sounds like a baby crying as well when it does that. So it fits the scene really well.
But in that scene, I guess they wanted to like run across, and they couldn't get the thing to run across the alleyway, so they just let it run down the alleyway, and they filmed it.
Ended up working anyways.
Yeah, it was really good. I thought it looked good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That movie's so many iconic scenes.
I was just gonna say that. I think the thing that stood out to me when I watched it this time, I didn't like rank the deaths or anything like I did for My Bloody Valentine, but every single death is better than the next, and they're all amazing. And they used technology that was cutting edge.
Yeah.
That first thing where he's coming out of the wall, they were explaining that they use they put spandex up on a wall, and they kind of came through, and that's how they got that effect. And it works so well.
Yeah, and it's not CGI. CGI sucked. It was all practical effects using lighting, spandex, and he just kind of came through. I love that.
That's awesome.
And then when Tina's death.
I was just gonna talk about that. Yeah.
With the rotating room.
That is incredible.
It didn't realize, but Glenn's death, they used the same room, and that's how they got the blood to go up out of the bed. It was filmed upside down, and they just dumped the blood.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that until I watched the commentary just the other day.
Yeah. And then what happened with all that? Like, apparently it got crazy. So it was like 80 gallons of blood, and I guess that it was so much blood that it started to make it uneven. Like, so they weren't able to control it anymore, and it was getting all over the lights and stuff, and the people controlling the room were getting electrocuted. Like they had a really serious situation on their hands.
Jeez. Wow.
But again, that's crazy because again, it's something that had really never been done, and so they didn't really know what to expect. Um, but that first death, man, where she's all over the room, I mean, it just looks so good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
The the cuts happening,
Mhm.
stuff like that. I don't know. Everything about that movie I loved. And it in
Mhm.
1984 when it came out, it was so like futuristic.
There are two
Yeah.
scenes in horror films that make me cringe when it comes to like seeing someone get hurt. One is Pet Cemetery when the dad's sleeping and falls off, or yeah, when he falls off the bed and whaps his head on the table stand next to his bed. Like it looks so real, you're like, oh. And when he gets whacked in the head by Tina when she's spinning in the air from
Hold on a
Freddy.
second. I don't want to. You just brought up Pet Cemetery. They ran over a fucking kid with a semi truck, and you're talking about the dad rolling out of bed and smacking
And whacking his head.
head on
Because how many times have you whacked your head and felt that? I've never been hit by a semi to know how bad that
Listen.
hurts.
TV.
The
A baby was hit with a fucking truck.
in his defense, though, that was more artistic in nature. Whereas when he hit the head,
What
for me,
bothered me?
for me, it was when he got his Achilles heel sliced. But
That's another show anyway. We're
all
gonna.
right.
I'm just thinking about the pain. Like it makes me like, oh, like get a headache and everything. It looks so real.
Stevie. Tina's getting
I'm trying.
like sliced, blood everywhere. Glenn, all of his blood coming out of the bed, and you're talking about, oh, she hit his head with her head
On the nightstand.
Freddie used her like a baseball bat and whacked him across the face with her head. How bad would that hurt?
That was the most unsettling thing I saw.
It really stuck with me right here. I mean, can you imagine?
Can you imagine an 80-pound girl hitting you?
I can't.
Oh, whatever. Fine. I'm just.
No, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, that really fucked me up too, man.
I'm gonna have
Just
nightmares
bothered.
about it
They knew
tonight.
that had to hurt. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
You know what though? I'm not gonna lie. It looks like it would have hurt.
It makes the scene more real.
Sorry.
Blood everywhere. Her guts are hanging out. But god damn it. Don't let a headbutt happen.
Which
Right on the cheekbone. Oh.
yeah. Phew.
I wish they would have given him like a big shiner for the movie after that,
They should.
That stuff would have been swollen up pretty good because he got whacked hard.
All right, so what else bothered you about that movie, Stevie?
So after that,
when she burns her arm to wake up. I've been burnt. Those blisters suck.
Yeah, that hurts.
Very irritating. Very irritating.
except when they showed it, like when she walked out of school, it was not in the spot that she burned herself. But whatever, we'll let that go.
So, do you think that was an homage to Halloween, the classroom scene? You know how and I didn't realize that's Daryl Hannah's brother up there talking in the class.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either. But when he's like talking,
Don Hannah.
What's his name?
Don Hannah.
Yeah. So he's up there just kind of yammering and she falls asleep. It kind of reminds me of when Lori's in the class and somebody's up there yammering and she sees Michael out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that's kind of was a nod to Halloween.
It could have been.
That's a really cool thought. I never thought of it like that.
And that teacher, fast forward, she's in all the Insidious films.
You know who she is? Robert Shea's sister.
Lynn Shay. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know her name. I just know it was his sister.
Lynn.
Lynn.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Horror movies have just done that scene over and over. Like It Follows uses that same scene. Classroom and the girls looking out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that makes a good horror movie. If a horror movie has that scene in it, it's probably a good horror movie.
Yeah. and continuing that scene, you know, it's such a small part of the movie, but when she goes out into the hallway and it's, you know, when she sees the girl in the body bag and then the body bag's just being pulled by itself, that it's phenomenal.
Yes.
And one thing I never noticed was all the leaves in the school, which just gives it a weird kind of dreamlike feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That just little subtle addition to it that you don't really notice if you're not really thinking about it, but subconsciously, I think it makes you realize, like, you know, something's just off.
And I always liked how the hall monitor, like, was dressed like Freddy.
Yeah. Yes.
And
That
how
camera
hard
angle.
that line she uses, Nancy, no running in the hallway. I mean, that was such a big line for that movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Such a short scene, you know.
And later, Scream used that with the janitor.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Fonz goes out, and there's like the old guy in the Freddy Krueger.
And his name's Fred.
Name's Fred. Yeah.
That was Wes Craven.
Yeah. Just giving himself props. Like, yeah, motherfucker, I made that movie.
That's right.
We talked about Lynn Shay. We didn't say who Robert Shay was. We just said his name. Should probably explain who he was in this movie, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he's in like pretty much all of them except for the first one, I think, right? Was he even in part one? Did he make a cameo?
I don't know.
But he was the owner of New Line Cinema. He's the one who pretty much got the movie out there, financed it to get it out. So if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be a Nightmare on Elm Street, you know.
And he makes cameos
in all
of them. But I don't think he did in the first one.
I don't remember seeing him in the first one.
We've had this conversation before. I think you and I had this conversation when we were watching Freddy's Nightmares. Maybe.
God, that's great.
But so that being said, what scene stuck out the most to you guys?
Other than the head to the head face?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like this the rest of the movie?
Oh, I was scared. Toes curled up. I felt his pain. Well, one scene.
Oh no, go ahead.
One scene that really sticks out to me was, and I don't remember that being used all that much in horror films at the time, but when Tina is in the body bag and she's standing there and like all those like those worm things come out and slithering around underneath her like snakes and stuff, and then the one comes out of her mouth. Like, that was shocking when I first seen that as a kid, you know. I hadn't seen that before done in a movie. And what are those things?
Centipedes.
Yeah.
But they have those big eel looking things as well.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, those things that are underneath the rocks.
Yeah.
At nighttime.
Giant leeches. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Right on. Okay.
Okay. Anything that had with Tina in the body bag, I thought was great. Mm-hmm. I also really loved the arms
at the beginning.
He's
running down.
Yep. Yeah. The cutting off of the finger, and he says, "This is God." And
that's awesome.
His blood is like yellow.
Mhm.
right when it spurts out.
Yeah.
So there's two things that make me wonder if these are homages to Phantasm: the yellow blood, and then the when Nancy's running up the steps and her feet kind of sink into the steps.
Hmm.
That scene was also in Phantasm, but he was running in the dirt and it turned into mud and hands started kind of grabbing his hands or his feet. So I don't know if those were like nods to Phantasm, but I always kind of thought they were.
It probably was. I mean, Nancy was watching Evil Dead in one of the scenes. I think I think that it's hard not to have those kind of homages. Like you see something that's really good in another movie, and you can kind of fit into your movie.
Just kind of a nod.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I mean, it's is it coincidence? Maybe, but
I heard he put that Evil Dead in there as a like a appreciation factor,
mhm.
because in Evil Dead they have the poster for The Hills Have Eyes, which was a movie he did.
Okay.
And Sam Raimi talked a lot about how much they love, Wes Craven and stuff. And I think is it part 2, you actually see Freddy's glove in Evil Dead Part 2 hanging in like the doorway. And
On the wall,
Hmm.
back or
it's
something. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of
But
like
yeah,
that, but it's got to be subtle. I don't like in your face.
Right.
Like when you watch Halloween 2018, like all the homages were just in your face.
Hmm.
I need a little bit more subtlety.
yeah, I like that because you like if you're a real fan of those and everything, it just makes you feel like it. I don't know, you
It takes
like
you out of the mood.
knowing, you appreciate that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So, Mike, you said you took 4 pages of notes on this one.
4 pages.
Well, let's get into it.
I mean, well, we've talked about a lot of it. But you talk about scenes, and I keep going in my head. I'm like, you keep on thinking about different scenes, and they're not just scenes, right? They're not just good scenes. They're it's iconic scene after iconic scene after like the bathtub scene. Again, really
Oh,
short scene, but that's been used over and over again in movies. You know, and the cool thing, they in the director's commentary, they talked about how they did it, and it was really interesting that it was like in a pool, and they did like a tarp or a trash bag, and it was like 8 feet deep, and when she came down into it, like that was the hole into the they blacked out the entire pool, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't realize how they did that. So when they're in the bathtub, there was a tank underneath, obviously,
Mhm.
and the guy stuck his hand up.
Yeah.
Love that scene.
Yeah.
I've always loved that scene because it's like that's crazy. Like there's something under the water, whatever.
Hmm.
But
yeah.
the part that you're talking about is when it cuts and they pull Nancy down and you see Nancy like trying to swim up to the top and it's just a hole and
Yeah.
then dark all around. And that's because they covered the pool with the tarp.
Right.
Seems kind of
It was
risky.
like a Jaws shot.
Yeah.
That scene came up with the
Yes.
camera. Reminds me of Jaws.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that was not Heather Langenkamp under the water, but I guess if she was 17 or when the film was made, I don't know how old she was, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
they would have to
Don't
have
need to.
do it.
Yeah.
But
So she was, man, I don't know. I think so. As I was watching, right, I was really trying to give her the benefit of the doubt as far as her acting was. And I was thinking, okay, is she kind of talking like this on purpose because she's just like beyond tired? Um, because when she would try to explain things, it was all very deliberate and slow. You know what I mean?
yeah, you didn't like her acting.
But what I'm saying is like, was that something that was on purpose? Because they did say that they kept adding like makeup to make her more tired, and if you have lack of sleep, you're not going to be talking clearly all the time.
I mean, it could be a mixture of that and then age. I don't know, like her age, being
Yeah.
young and being in a film like that.
Right.
With her mom being an alcoholic as well, she might have to like speak used to speaking like that to get her point across to her mom. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
by the way, the dad in the beginning, that came in with the mom, like when she woke up. It wasn't her. It was who was the first one that was
Oh,
killed? The
Tina,
blonde.
Tina's.
you gotta clip
Tina.
your nails or stop
Yeah.
dreaming like that. One or the other.
Yeah. So the dad that came in was like apparently Johnny Depp's agent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Like,
heard
he
Nice.
just wanted a part, so they gave him a part.
Nice.
And that was all the parents just looked strung out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about their backstory, that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 Had a rough childhood.
Yep. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
And
I
I
heard Johnny Depp got that scene because Wes Craven's daughter and her friends had a crush on him.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yep.
So that's why he just put it in the movie. He's like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
hadn't been in anything yet. It was just they saw him and it's like, nope, Johnny Depp is the guy. They knew before he was actually Johnny Depp that he was Johnny Depp.
They knew Johnny Depp. They're like, it's got to be that guy. But like, there's little things, the mom smoking in the hospital, just kind of funny.
Yeah, dates the film.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of, and I don't want to talk about the remake too much because, but they really they kind of got more into. I mean, killing kids is bad. They say he's a filthy child murderer, but he was actually doing more than that, and they kind of stayed away from that in the first film.
Yeah. You don't really even know much at all.
No, but in the remake, they kind of touched more on why he was.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of threw it in your face.
Yeah. I don't know that would have made any difference in this movie.
I don't think so.
I like that they didn't.
I like that they didn't either, and I don't know that he would be like such an '80s hero if they like said his real backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Like if you want
that's
kids,
too dark.
that's fine. I get it. Kids are obnoxious. I can see it, but there's a line, and you don't cross that. That's
Yeah.
So, but they didn't stray away from that in the new one or newer one. So I'm glad that they did it the way they did.
Yeah. And one thing that I noticed was in the first one, the door to the house is blue.
Yeah.
And then it turns red.
Yeah.
In the other movies.
Yeah.
So
do you think there's a reason for that? They just think it looks
idea. But that takes me back to The Strangers. I think that when I was talking about the houses that they passed by, I think the one had a blue door, and I was like, it looked just like it except for the blue door.
I think that there's a tradition that you're supposed to paint your door red if you get your house paid off.
Really?
Yeah. Look it up.
Huh.
I think it's real.
Is your door red?
My door?
Yeah.
No.
You paid your house off.
Yeah, but I don't want a red door.
Why not?
Just because everybody else does it doesn't mean I got to do it. So by far the best of the series, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Watching it again, it moves up for me as far as my favorite 80s horror movies. Just really like going into it, and just how many iconic things happen in this movie. you know, it's right there. Like Halloween is my number one, but I think if I'm being honest with myself, I might even like this movie better just
Halloween
because it's so different.
doesn't have a lot of depth.
No.
Um, the character of Michael is terrifying because, or at least he was, you know, just the emotionless mask, it like in it, unstoppable force. But this movie has a lot more depth and the dreamlike quality and the different layers.
Hmm.
And I would even, you know, the Halloween score is iconic. Everybody knows that song. But the score for this film, I think it makes me, and maybe it's because I'm sick of the Halloween song,
Hmm.
but the music for Nightmare on Elm Street definitely hits more emotions for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the setting, the sets in this movie, the boiler room aspect,
Mhm.
it's just it all hits. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like Halloween is a very slow moving movie that, you know, I mean, I watch every year, but I watch this and I really, I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy it every time, and you look forward to the parts in the movie
Do you know
and the
what
amount
part
of
I loved?
what?
Do you know what part I loved? Was when the mom takes Nancy down and pulls the glove out of the
Mhm.
Oh
furnace.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like I got his knives. And I remember being a kid and watching it and just like I got to see what these things like really look like in the daylight. Like what is that, you know? Because I want one
yeah.
of them. It's that's a really cool scene. The whole movie is so good.
Yeah.
It really is, and I
There's
think that
really
it
nothing.
gets because of there's so many sequels, and it just got cheesier and cheesier that it ruined that first
Yes.
one, and even the second one was still good, but
Let
that
me
first
ask
one.
you guys, do you guys like watching this one more on VHS or on DVD after they, you know, cleaned it up a little bit? Do you guys have a preference on how you watch it?
It's been so long since I've seen it on VHS, um, so I don't have a frame for reference, but I liked watching it on DVD, um, because it's cleaned up, but it's not like Blu-ray, like 4K cleaned up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um I it depends. So I like watching it both ways. I love watching horror movies on VHS because of the grittiness, because of the darkness, and that's what adds to like the scare factor. Um, a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, how it was just gritty and grainy anyway.
Hmm.
I don't want to see that in high definition. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
Oh yeah.
But this film is different than Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the fact that sometimes it's kind of nice to see those details.
Hmm.
So for a nostalgic reason, I want to hear the hum of the VCR. I want the tracking lines. That's how I grew up watching it. But I do want to watch it with commentary, and I want to see it, um, restored a little bit also. So I don't really have a preference. Depends on the day, I think.
See, I agree with you on that. Like as far as seeing this stuff, there's not many horror films from that date that they've cleaned up and put out that I've enjoyed after they've done that, or I haven't seen anything in the movie that was like a flaw.
Hmm.
After they cleaned it up, this movie is pretty much spot on. I don't remember seeing anything after seeing it cleaned up and everything that was a mistake, or looked bad. It was almost like shot in a way for that in a weird sense. The only thing would be the only mistakes I could really see is the palm trees. But you again, that's not a real, they didn't really push the Ohio factor in it.
Yeah,
No, they didn't.
and
But
I
like,
don't. It may have Ohio might have come into that series later because they didn't talk about it being in Ohio. Did they? Was
Nope.
it on the uniforms of the cops? I would have to
I
go
don't
back.
I don't
remember.
think so. I think it just said Springfield
Springwood.
or Springwood. I mean, but yeah, I don't know if they say Ohio in it or not.
I don't remember them saying it.
I want to say that came later in the series, but I could be wrong.
I don't remember if they said it or not. Like, I'm even trying to think the license plate when he drives off at the end. I don't even think there's a
Oh,
license that plate
what
like
the,
on the
yeah,
car,
what the
really.
state is. I don't know.
Yeah, but I could have swore there was something little that But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this movie, like I said, I think that it's it was flawless the way he shot it.
Hmm.
Part two you watch on DVD, but that's for another time. But this one, I thought like you could watch it cleaned up for DVD or whatever, and you still get the same feeling. I mean, the emotion's a little bit different for me watching it in the dark and grainy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary. Like that whole scene when he cuts his finger off and he's running down the alleyway. Like when it's dark like that and grainy, I
Yeah.
mean, it was a little bit scarier to me seeing it that way. But watching it cleaned up and stuff, it was still fantastic. It still was, you know, what it
The,
was.
the crazy thing about that running down with the arm scene, that could have turned out really cheesy.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the way he was running, like, but it just, I couldn't imagine seeing that in the middle of the night, this thing coming at me like that.
Running at you like that?
Yeah.
that ripping the face off
Oh yeah.
part.
Yep.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many parts we have not even touched on. It's crazy. Like, so all the, like, he used actual steam for all the smoke parts, and I think that that's something that you know, transfers really well onto film. Like he's like, I have to. He made it a point to say, I'm going to use steam for everything instead of just like, um, I don't know what they would typically use. Maybe just like
Like a
Smoke machines,
fog
whatever,
machine?
fog
dry
machines.
ice.
Yeah. But the one thing that probably stands out more is the mannequin at the end. But that was always,
Going through the door?
Oh,
yeah.
the blow up doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was a little rough, but I mean, it was a
I mean,
dream, I guess.
mhm. I did like
I feel like we're skipping over a lot of stuff. There's so
we
many.
are, well, hold on. So near the beginning of the movie, when they're walking and the girls are playing with the jump rope, and it's like it's like a dream sequence, and then it fades into like real life. It was like hazy, and then it fades into real life. Like, I thought that transition was awesome. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say when Tina and Nancy are walking and and Rod comes by and he says the line that Steve and I always say to each other. Hey, up yours with a twirling lawnmower. There's so many good one-liners in that film.
There is. It's
So
so
many good
great.
scenes. I don't know. Watching it again, it definitely brings it up. So,
Yeah.
when we first talked about our original four, what our favorites are,
Mhm.
that really puts it up there for me.
I agree with you.
If it was just based on the first one, yeah, 100%. But when we're talking about like, unfortunately, we've had what 8, 9 more of them, and it really tarnished it for me. So going into that, I was thinking of all that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
at the point. But if you go with just part one to each of those films, like the Mount Rushmore, yeah, it would definitely be all like up there at the top.
I always wanted to try to make some of those booby traps too. Like the black powder in the light bulb. That would work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She home alone that house, man, for sure.
We didn't even talk.
But I lived at your place with you, Matt. I wanted to put the sledgehammer up in your hallway when you go down to shower, so people come down and crush you in the
I
gut.
wish
But
you would have. I wish you would have. You still got a key. Just come over and do it. I think both of you guys have keys to the house, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do. I don't know about
I don't have a
Mike.
key to the house.
I'll make sure you have one.
Oh, okay. I'm not privy to such things.
You'll get
I
one.
come up, I'll swing Stevie around and I hit you in the head with him.
No, don't do that. That's too far.
That's too much. It's too much.
That's painful. That's scarring.
We didn't even talk about John Saxon. I like John Saxon's role a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
I know him from Enter the Dragon.
yeah,
Nice. Yes.
I think maybe that's another reason why she stuck out so much, because there were so many good actors in this movie.
well,
You
yeah,
know, even Johnny Depp's first film, he's still, you could tell like he was a good actor, right? I don't know. She kind of, when she talked, it kind of took me out of the movie. That was if there's a flaw in the movie, it's kind of her, but I don't know if that's on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't.
How weird is it go back
myself.
and watching it now, seeing sheriff? I think he's a sheriff in Scream 1, playing like the regular deputy cop
Yeah.
to John Saxon, and he still pretty much looks the same as he did in Scream,
Yeah.
This is the first time I watched the movie. So I don't know if this happens to you guys, but movies that were around when we were kids, they seemed older. Johnny Depp, Nancy, they all seemed older.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they've remained older to me. Even when I watched the film like 5 years ago, I still look at them as like older. But watching it the other night, it was the first time I watched it and I saw them as like younger. You know what I'm saying? Like Johnny Depp looked young.
Yeah, he was.
And Nancy, she was young.
Yeah.
And I will do that typically, like, with horror films, I will like put myself in the place of the protagonist, or I'll try to relate to the protagonist.
Hmm.
And I don't know how that movie would translate if I saw it now for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would I think of them as young kids? I don't know. It's weird.
Wait, if you saw it for the first time now?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you got the high school, and yeah, I think you would still see them as kids.
Yeah.
But back in like the 80s, high school kids looked like they were 30.
Like Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
John Bender looked like 35 years old.
Yeah. But you have to admit that we all had kids like that in our school, that we're like, man,
Yeah.
that kid,
This
He's-
motherfucker,
he's been shaving since he was 10.
he's got a mustache.
That was my problem in high school.
Speaking of
I always-
mustache, I'm gonna bring a mustache in. What do you think?
Bring it in.
Bring that mustache in?
Yeah, you had it, didn't you?
Sure.
Yeah, I got a little bit right now. I got this shaving cream. It's like this shaving lotion. It smells just like your dad, Mike. It does.
This is getting really weird.
It
Yeah, is
smells.
it Barbasol?
I don't know. It's got like this dude
Paul
with
Sebastian?
a top hat on and like a cane. I'm like,
Red eyes?
this smells like Mike's dad. I'm buying this.
Huh. Right on. Speaking of nostalgia, Matt's going
The
for
Nightmare on
Mike.
Elm Street.
Yeah.
All right, this is probably going pretty long.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's a good
That's all
movie.
right.
It's worth the.
It is worth it. So I mean, we talked about so I mean, what's your favorite death scene in this?
Stevie, you go.
I gotta see Johnny Depp scene. That scene's so iconic, so messed up. And I was gonna say, and but have you ever seen the uncut version of his death scene? Because they edited a lot of that out.
I don't know that I have.
I don't think
Like
I have.
in the movie version, he gets sucked down and the TV comes down, all of a sudden the blood comes up.
Hmm.
In the unedited version, he gets sucked down and all that happens, but then all of a sudden he comes straight up, like just still, and just blood everywhere, and he's just like practically dead, staring. And then that's when
Really?
the mom has the blood going everywhere, he like kind of falls and the blood splatters all over his mom and stuff. Like she
Oh,
comes in and sees him when he's like above the bed, like just bloody mess. Which
I
was,
think I saw that on YouTube or something.
it's really dark footage, but it was pretty
check that out.
impactful, you know.
Uh,
God, that's tough though. Your favorite death? I'm gonna stick with that. I'll stick with that.
yeah, I'm gonna say that's my favorite too, with Tina's being a close second, because Tina's death scene has that one part where her head hits Rod Lane's face.
That's just scarring. That's a
Possibly
scarring.
one of the most unsettling scenes I've ever seen.
Do you know
I
that
don't
like
know how you guys feel about it.
when Johnny Depp or when Glenn's in his bed and he's watching the TV and he's listening to music, it's I don't know, like his bedroom and Nancy's bedroom, they just seem very I I don't know, they seem like cozy. Nancy's
Yeah.
bedroom seems really cozy with
Hmm.
that weird wallpaper, you know? And it's like how people's bedrooms were in the 80s.
Right.
So
It was very cozy. She had her own coffee pot, her own TV.
Oh yeah,
She had
right.
everything
Yeah,
in there she needed.
that
yeah,
was nice. She had her
Burner.
own tongue phone.
yeah, and that has to do with all the sets and everything. But yeah, it's Johnny Depp's death scene when he's in the bed and gets pulled into the bed. Mikey, what about you?
Um, ask me tomorrow. It'd be Tina's, but gosh, man, I just think that blood just flying up is just so amazing. But her going around that room
Mm-hmm.
and how they make it look so good, I think that that's the thing that gets me.
All the
Is
slash marks as she's going around in circles, and you
right,
just see
yeah,
a
and it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't look bad at all, and it's like it's just happening. It's
You know,
it's
we
really
didn't talk about Rod Lane's death scene with that was shot in reverse with the sheet around the
oh
neck
yeah, with the sheet. Yeah, yeah.
and Reddy coming through the jail cell
Hmm.
bars.
Yeah,
That was a cool scene, but compared to those two,
right.
you know,
But it was still pretty cool.
because usually when you see somebody hanging, like in a film, like
Mhm.
that's typically a scene that sticks out.
Yeah,
Like in the Night of the Living Dead remake, when you see all those people hanging from the trees,
hmm,
like that scene sticks out to me. Like hangings always stick out to me. But in this film, there's just so much other imagery that took me away from
right.
it. It's like,
Even outside of the death scenes, and I think that that's the thing that's really cool. Is like typically, horror movies are all about the death scenes, and it's a bunch of filler.
mhm,
And this is not like beginning to end, man. It's it goes. It doesn't stop.
there's no
You
filler.
know? No, there's really not. And any filler is just
in your
moving
head.
towards something else. What?
It's a minor threat reference.
Yeah,
Uh,
sorry. You said it's a filler. I'd say in your head. I'm sorry.
Stevie,
but
I love you for these references. There's nobody,
I'm interrupting jerk. I'm sorry.
nobody
no,
else
you're good.
gonna catch a minor threat reference, but go ahead. Mike interrupts all the fucking time.
I do. Interrupt away, man.
But no, you're right. There is no filler, and it's like scene after scene is great.
Mhm,
And even when it's not a death scene, it's something that's important to the film, or
mhm.
it's something that's really well shot.
Yeah, and it makes you start wondering, like, okay, are they awake right now or are they asleep right now?
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps going in and out of both.
That's awesome you said that about like not knowing, because I feel like at that scene where they're sitting on a bridge, Nancy and Glenn, and when
Hmm.
he's looking at that book of booby traps and stuff that she's reading, like by that point, you are almost, at least the way I feel watching that, you're almost in Nancy's mindset. Like you don't know either, you're like almost delirious
Hmm.
because you don't know what is a dream, what is reality, what is who's dead, who's alive, and yeah, I thought that was phenomenal. Like that feeling watching it, you just don't know.
That bridge scene, it also uses music, and then it's shot with kind of a haze to it. Like, is this dream? Is this the dream, or is this for real? Like
Yeah,
the music is very dreamlike in that scene.
yeah, yeah. It
And I
it totally makes you feel, like I said, like in Nancy's shoes almost. Like you are delirious almost at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, look at the end of the movie. Jumps in
Yeah.
that car and it's freaking Johnny Depp driving the car. It's like, wait a second.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
I
Mom out
Everything
mean,
there
I
about
know
fighting.
it took, but it's just it happens. It just happens. Like they don't make a big deal about it, and it's bizarre, but it's awesome. Like it was just such a great way to end that movie.
and before that, Nancy, when she's talking shit to Freddie,
Hmm.
I want all my energy back. I want my friends back, and blah 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 blah. And then he goes to swipe, and he just disappears.
Yeah,
And you think that she's won. And then next scene, her mom's getting pulled through the door, and her dead friends are picking her up. And then the top goes over the convertible. It's just
And that laugh.
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, so I have a question. That at that last scene, right, with her mom in the bed, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Th- So was that supposed to be her mom going down into the bed?
That's how I
But
always took it.
Yeah, that's
right,
what I always took it.
right. So her mom is dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because they do bring that up and reference that in part 3 later on in the series, when she's
yeah,
talking to her dad
yeah.
about mom's death, so yes, that was, she's definitely dead, and that's what I took it as, was her death, and
All right.
Freddie's
So she's
basically
definitely
taking her
asleep at the
power
end of the
energy.
movie, correct?
What's that?
She's definitely asleep at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think she's passed out. She was so
Right.
drunk. I think she was just passed out asleep. Yeah, just
Are you
gone.
talking about Nancy
No, I'm talking about Nancy. So
Oh, 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 I'm sorry.
Nancy was clearly asleep at the end of the movie
when she won?
because her
I
mom
thought
was
she.
because her mom's dead. And she's sitting there talking to her, and then she jumps into a car with everyone, and it's Freddie's car, so she's clearly
Well, that
asleep.
was wow. Because I mean, you're supposed to think that it's reality.
Correct, but her
Be-
mom just died in the scene before, right?
Maybe, maybe she fell asleep after the fact, after she's defeated him and stuff. Maybe this is a little later. She falls asleep that
Mm-hmm.
night. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe
Yeah,
that's her dream after
because
everything was done.
I had never, I had when I again watching the movie, it's just that's something I never really thought about. You just like see her talking to her mom, and I'm saying, I'm like, wait a second, her mom literally just got sucked into a bed, like completely dead, and now she's fine. And then she gets pulled into the window, and you're thinking, oh man. But then I'm like, wait a second, she's already dead, and then she's going into the car with with all her dead friends.
I'm thinking she went to sleep after it was all done. She fell asleep, and
Yeah.
Freddy got, he just had his powers back. Everyone thought that he was defeated. She
Hmm.
thought he defeated. I finally get some rest. I finally get some sleep, and
Yeah.
just back to get her.
And
Yeah,
maybe that's common knowledge. I just never even it never
it is
even
weird how
occurred
it
to
like
me.
just cuts right to it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
yeah.
almost wonder if after Tina died, she fell asleep and then the rest of the movie was a dream.
Who fell asleep?
Nancy.
Nancy being all upset about her best friend dying. That would be messed up, huh?
I need to rewatch it and think different angle here.
I think the first one is just a
because how
movie.
unrealistic is that she's going to bring him out of a dream? That itself had to be a dream. That she could bring him out of the dream world. That's
Could
just
be.
unrealistic, right, Steve?
Yeah. So
Steve was checked out by then. He had been
it was so
been
cheesy.
unsettled early
So
on in that movie.
I'm like, what? Did I just watch a comedy, or did I just watch a sci-fi?
Right. So, Freddy Krueger on the scale, on the killer scale, where are we ranking him?
He's
he's up.
moved up. He's moved up to at least 2 for me.
For this movie, right?
For this
movie. Talking about part 1.
All right, what if we talk about part 1, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw, Friday the 13th?
All of part 1s. Well, you
Friday-
can't do that with it'll be part 2 for Friday the 13th.
Right. Spoiler.
Well, then I think I think Jason goes to 4 then.
You go to highest number, lowest. Number 1 be like the biggest, your favorite.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Freddie,
Jason would definitely be at the bottom for me.
Freddie, Michael, Leatherface, Jason.
So wait.
He's going Freddy first, Michael second, Leatherface third, Jason.
That's
fourth.
your lineup, Matt? Okay.
If I'm basing it just on the first films.
First films. Go ahead, Mike. I'll follow you.
4 is Jason, 3 is Leatherface. I can't. It's hard to separate the. It's hard to separate the character from the movie. Because if I put Freddy first, it's because I think I enjoy that movie more than I do Halloween now. But as far as killers go, I still have to put Michael first, and then Freddy second.
I would agree with that. It's hard because 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard. I'd probably go. Jeez, this is really tough. Going by just the killers, like you said, just like killing wise, I would have to go Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, and Jason.
Okay, so we're all in agreement pretty much.
By going by killer, like killer itself.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
by movie, just killer itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to put the movie. It's hard to separate the two. Yeah. Yeah.
Last thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
0 out of 10 VHS tapes
For the movie.
for Nightmare on Elm Street. What are you rating it at?
I'm gonna go with 9, 10. Never Sleep Again.
9 out of 10?
Yeah. No, 9, 10. Never Sleep Again. Yeah. I'd go with 10 for Nightmare on Elm Street.
You're giving Nightmare on Elm Street 10 video.
Part 1 of 10. I don't
Okay.
see anything wrong with it. I don't see any flaws in it.
Okay. Hang on. Let me get this up.
You know, if you asked me before I watched it again recently,
How many videotapes? Look at the cover of this thing.
Yeah,
Artwork is great.
I love that.
What a great
So good. So good.
if you asked me before I watched it, this last time, it would have been, I probably would have said 6 or 7. But after watching it and really, enjoying it for what it is, I think I'm going to go 9.5, 9.5, just because there's a couple things that I would change, but I'll go 9.
I'm gonna say 10 means there is absolutely no room for improvement.
Right.
It is very close to a 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 9.5. But I don't know where I would improve it. To be honest with you. It's a near perfect horror film. And I don't know if that's because it's so nostalgic. You know?
It had to do something right. I mean, God, look at all the money they have made off of this. All the figures. So I mean, if it wasn't for Freddy, I'm willing to bet that like there wouldn't be many horror movie like paraphernalia, stuff to buy. I remember going to Kmart and getting like yo-yos and T-shirts and Halloween makeup of Freddy alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a big marketing thing, especially in around 1987, I think, when Part 3 came out.
Jesus.
Did 3 come out? Yeah. Yes.
Sweet.
There was so many different things in it. I don't know how I felt about like that.
I can't help it. Sorry.
Hey, where'd you get that from?
You.
I got you.
Look at that.
That was a Christmas present from you, I believe. I know it was a gift for something.
Yeah, I remember where I got it from, but I don't remember what it was for.
But I mean, like,
does the pull do you ever pull the string on the back?
I just did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But he doesn't sound all deep, it's higher pitch.
Oh,
Here,
dude.
I'll do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Here goes. You hear it?
No.
Watch out. He said, watch out, Freddy's back.
I didn't hear
I'll turn it around. Maybe you hear it better
Turn
this way. You can't hear it?
No, it doesn't pick it up for some reason.
It was great.
Oh, I heard it that time.
Welcome to Elm Street.
So, yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that though, about how it opened up all the toys and stuff, because that's the point where it stopped being scary, and it started being something else.
Yeah,
commercialized.
But it also gave us some really cool collectibles, so I can't really. So, whew.
Yeah.
I can't give a movie. I'm gonna say 9.5 because I feel like I can't give a film 10.
I thought I was going to be the snob in these things.
No, it's hard to
Be truthful to yourself, Matt.
It's hard to give a movie a 10.
Yeah.
That means it's an absolutely perfect film.
Yep. And there's nothing you would change about it.
If there were no palm trees in it, it would be a 10.
There you go. Palm trees. There you go. There's the half.
See, to me, that just adds more to that with the horror films. Like, how much fun is it to watch horror films and pick those things out?
Plus, it was a
Like,
dream. Like I much would if I live in Ohio, I dream about being on the beach in California. So maybe I was on to something, and then the whole fucking movie is a dream after Tina dies.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe all the dream sequences, they're in a place with palm trees, and then when they're awake, they're back in Ohio.
Yeah. The shitty weather and the gray skies.
Yeah. Maybe.
It's all a dream.
Maybe.
Like
I gotta say, if it wasn't for horror films, like I've noticed growing up watching horror movies, I pay so much attention to detail in the background. Like the littlest things, like posters and stickers and stuff that's used, and
Yeah.
I love that. And if it wasn't for those little mistakes and stuff they used in the movies, I don't think I would have been like that.
That's going to lead us to It Follows, where you have to pay attention to the
Yeah.
background. I can't
Yeah.
wait for that show.
I got to be up there for that.
Yeah.
But talking about paying attention to things, one thing I noticed in their house is that her mom had freaking butterflies everywhere, and I don't know what the meaning of that was, but there were butterflies everywhere in that movie in the house.
I didn't notice that. I did not. That's a good catch, and maybe there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you watch it, check it out.
So I've been to that house, and I'll edit a little picture of me in front of the Nightmare on Elm Street house too. But I have a fun fact about that house, thanks to a guy named Sean Clark, who is huge in the horror underground, not even underground anymore. Like, people know who he is. He's the reason for these conventions. He manages a lot of these people. So there's a connection between the Nightmare on Elm Street house and Halloween. So when Halloween was released, they had to add some footage in for the TV, version, right? Stevie, you know what I'm talking about? Like, so
Yeah.
Loomis is in the court, or Laurie Strode's on the phone with Annie. So they had to shoot extra scenes. And I think they did it around the same time that they shot Halloween 2. So they show Laurie Strode in a house talking on the phone. That's actually inside the Elm Street house. But the interior of the Elm Street house in A Nightmare on Elm Street was wasn't the house that they used for the exterior. So the exterior of the house was shot on whatever it is, Genesee Boulevard in LA. The interior was shot somewhere else. I think it was a set. But the interior of the house that they used for the exterior was used for the Halloween television scenes.
That's awesome.
And
I did not know.
When Annie is on the other end of the phone, she's laying in her bed. So Laurie is downstairs with PJ Souls, I think. And they're talking to Annie, and Annie's on the phone on her bed. She's actually upstairs in Nancy's bedroom.
Wow.
So if you watch the TV version of Halloween and you see that scene where they're on the phone, if you look, you'll see the door and the windows on the door. The staircase is in a different place because it's a different house inside.
Yeah.
And then you can line up the shots with Annie being on the phone when like Nancy's on the phone and you can see the closet next to the window. All those shots line up.
That's awesome. I did
That's really
not
cool.
know that.
I had
That's
no
really
idea until a few years ago, and Sean Clark put a video up of it, and it's actually on YouTube. I rewatched it again the other night. And he was inside the house, and he realized that it was the house in Halloween. So
Wow.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's great.
yeah, I'm glad somebody said something, or Mike said something about the butterflies in the house. Otherwise, I would have forgot to talk about that.
Well, that was really popular at that time frame. It seems like I remember my mom was huge into owls when I was a kid, and it was like owls everywhere, owl lamp, curtains out. My grandma liked frogs. Things were decorated with like frogs. Maybe it was just something like that. Maybe it's not actual anything symbolizing anything for the movie. Maybe it's just because of the time frame.
My biscuit grandma, my grandma used to make biscuits, yellow grandma. She loved roosters. The one that
Oh yeah.
She was real religious and don't say anything bad in front of her. And then the minute Stevie goes in to meet her, he walks in the door and his phone rings. And what do you say, Stevie? What did you say?
I don't want to rehash. I'm not rehashing on
Said,
this.
God damn it, who's calling me? Jesus Christ. And then storms out. doesn't even say anything to my grandma.
Oh
And
no.
Grandma's just like, she's so religious. And Stevie's dropping GDs and Jesus Christ and storm.
I always said GDs. I did not Jesus Christ in front of her.
Oh,
And for the record, I just saw her not too long ago. She gave me a big hug. And
because she needs
she loves me.
she knows that you're headed to hell because so she's trying to.
She doesn't remember shit.
Dude, I feel so bad for that. You do not let it go.
No, I'm never letting that.
Oh,
Just
dude,
constant.
that is so funny.
That was horrible. It wasn't funny. It was horrible.
We pulled into the driveway. I'm like, Stevie, she's super religious. Don't say anything stupid. As soon as he gets in the house, God damn it, storms out. I'm like, sorry, Grandma, I don't know who that was.
What you didn't know is that he just saw the scene in Nightmare on Elm Street, so he wasn't in the right mind frame.
Messed him up.
Messed him up.
Dude, and I'm the nice one. I'm the one, that's all good and everything around parents and family and stuff. That one time, I slipped one time in my life.
Disgusting.
One time. And I hear it all the way up to 25 years ago or something. Man.
Hey, it's as iconic as the scenes that we saw.
Horrible.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Not at all.
All right,
I'm sitting trying to think about stuff that my parents saved, had. Then I can't think of anything. You had owls and frogs. The only thing my dad had a bunch of were Playboys.
That's true.
That's
down in the basement. Mike's parents hated me.
Oh, stop! All right, look, this is 2 hours long. We'll get into that later.
And I was a bad influence because I was a skateboarder punk rock kid.
You are.
Look at you.
I never knew those bad words. I never knew those bad words if I hung out with you.
We'll go over to his dad's, and every single time his dad's like, you really turned out to be okay. I wasn't sure about you. Still, to this day, I really wasn't sure about you. But you turned out okay.
That's hilarious.
He's like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
That's crazy.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna talk about next, but we're gonna have to.
Oh, but this was a surprising one for sure.
It was. And I
just got a text about it. I'm like, what? I didn't even know.
I got feedback that we talk too long, that we go on too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Real quick. As I said, we were talking too much. Our friend Zach. We want to shout out to Zach. Zach, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. Stevie told me you had a couple roadblocks, and you're back at home now. So we want to make sure you're doing okay. If you need anything, I'll send you a text, but reach out if you need anything from us.
Hopefully this keeps you occupied for a little bit while you're down.
Yeah, I think we're over an hour for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna
guys. Well, hey, we haven't seen each other for a while, so we had to make it last.
We're gonna have to do short shows. Do you think we get to a 15-minute show?
No,
I don't either.
A short show for us would be 30 minutes.
All right. Well, whatever.
I think we could do it, but
yeah, it'll suck though.
My Bloody Valentine was super long, and we didn't have much to say about that.
Listen, I'm punk rock. I do this for me, not you viewers.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
It's for my friends and me.
Yeah, click like and subscribe.
Just kidding. I love you guys.
All right, guys. Till next time. Thanks everybody for watching. See ya.
Bye, guys.